What is going on, YouTube? I'm your host, the Financial Conspirator, your guide for everything financials and conspiracies. We have a full house, okay? We've got both
Yes,
of the
sir.
brothers in the building. MJ, welcome back.
Thanks for having me. Sorry I haven't been available. It's been a little bit of a rough start to the year for me, but just trying to get, in the swing of things. I'm glad to be back, chit chat with y'all, see what y'all got going on, and we can talk some money. So I like money. I like talking money. I like talking about it. So I appreciate you having me, big dog.
Yes, sir. Y'all know who the other esteemed brother is on this panel. He needs no
Yes, sir.
introduction. He needs no
Peace.
introduction.
Peace, y'all, man. It's Rakim X, you know what I'm saying? We back at it with the brother MJ talking again. Man, it's been a rocky trying to get back on the sixth schedule, but hey, we got back on the sixth schedule. Um, but yeah, man, like MJ said, man, I love talking money. Definitely talking to y'all sharpens me up too, you know what I'm saying, on my game, give me certain thoughts, more things to think about, especially when it comes to finance and investing.
Absolutely. Let's get straight into the deal. Layoffs. Crypto.com, 20%. Meta, Microsoft are vacating buildings over these massive layoffs. It means they no longer need the department, they no longer need the entire building that they were renting before. So, what do you guys think is the massive layoff coming to a close here, or you guys think we still have more upside to go as far as layoffs go? Whoever wants to take that first.
Um, what do you mean by upside when it comes to
As
layoff?
in more layoffs to come, or do you think this is getting to be the maximum amount of layoffs that we're going to see? Is this the end of the layoffs, or we're just getting started?
I think by how fast AI is taking off and companies seeing the opportunities, I think we could see more layoffs. Like I seen the brother Ian Dunlap say, you could see companies dropping down to being run by 10 and 15 employees. And I'm like, sheesh. Because, you may have AI engineers and things like that who are completely putting the entire company on autopilot. So, but not just with the AI technology and stuff like that. Interest rates are still high. Most companies in America aren't like the best, aren't the most profitable. So I think you could see more layoffs coming down the line.
Um, I agree. I think it's a lot of things that go into why we're seeing the layoffs and why these the big tech companies, tech is seeing the hardest hit in the market. All of the tech
Hmm.
companies are pretty much taking a hit, probably taking the biggest hit out of everybody because construction, building, all of those commodities, a lot of that stuff has been pretty profitable. But the tech spaces, COVID changed the game. They realize they don't need these buildings because people can be just as productive working virtual. And then they don't need as many people, because a lot of people in these companies, I worked in corporate America, man. If you worked in corporate America, man, you got a lot of placeholders and just seat fillers that don't really do nothing. And they just been working at the company or they know somebody or some, you know what I mean? And they just kind of placeholders, and there's a lot of that goes on in corporate America. So I'm not really surprised to see the layoffs. I think we'll probably see a good bit more. I think the tech will probably see. I think we may spill over into some other industries, but those industries are the ones that are already pretty lean. But they will probably tighten up as well. Won't be as severe, but we'll continue to see layoffs. You got to remember, as layoffs and unemployment and all of these things rise, also wages have been semi going up from, if you believe the numbers, they say that wages are increasing. So that's a good thing. That's going to help inflation. That's going to help curb inflation a little bit. So hopefully we just monitor the unemployment numbers and see how this articulates into, do these people go out and get jobs or they just become government dependents and, so forth, so on.
Yeah,
Now I got a question for y'all though. What do y'all think they do with these vacant buildings?
That's an interesting question, man. And I look. That's kind of like my train of thought. Like what I think about. I try to think about the third and fourth move, right? Like you got all of these giant buildings, and then you always also got things like WeWork and WeWork space. Sometimes people like to have like a semi isolated space to come work in. That's not necessarily their home, but is that a market that we can really take advantage of? I don't know. I am very curious to know what they're going to do with these spaces, all of these skyscrapers that's going to be empty. Like I said, people ain't going back to work, man. People, if they can get a job and live wherever they want to live, I'm an example of that. I got a bunch of friends that live here that they travel all over the world and work, and for American companies, European companies, all the same. We're looking at a different type of economy in a different day and age, man. I think, and being progressive and thinking about a solution as to what to do with these buildings in these cities and in these cities is that's a monetary opportunity right there in itself. If you create, you got to understand the problems that's going to be arising, and then start attacking the solutions. What are the solutions to that? That's a good question. I don't have the answer to it, but I do think about things like that. Well, what the hell are they going to do with all the buildings in Atlanta and New York and San Francisco and Silicon Valley? And you know what I mean? What's going to happen?
Yep. Well, speaking of empty buildings, we're seeing home prices decline by upwards of 20% in places like Oakland, California, 18% in San Jose, California, 16% in Austin, Texas, and 16% in San Francisco. So a lot of California, but 20% decline from May to December in 2022. And we're still seeing rates on those houses you have to pay going up. Rates are still going up. You're still paying that value, or you're still paying what you locked in with your mortgage. But the value, the actual underlying value of the house that you have is plummeting by upwards of 10% in too many places. Like, this is just too many places to have a decline this steep. Wells Fargo lays off hundreds of mortgage employees as inflation bites. We talked about this a few weeks ago, and now Wells Fargo, the number one player in mortgages, is stepping back from the house market as a whole. So not only did they fire a couple hundred mortgage employees, which was your first warning sign a few weeks ago, now they're stepping back from the housing market as a whole. So MJ, they don't have the answers. If these banks don't have the answers, I surely don't expect you to have the answers to this stuff. So, I mean, does this kind of thing worry you, or is this the free marketing? Is this all part of the Jerome Powell plan?
I don't think Powell's planning. I don't think he's the end all be all or actually knows 100% of the plan. I will say this, um, the United States, corporate America, whatever you want to call it, it is one of the most sophisticated systems on the planet. It's not that I'm worried or not worried about it. Like, it's probably going to be pretty terrible for a lot of people, right? Um, America's a society where we live off of debt and fake it till you make it. And the more money, 80% of the people in America live paycheck to paycheck, don't have $5,000 in their savings account. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be bad for a lot of people, but at the same time, it is capitalism, right? So they're going to figure out how to get something out of it, right? They're going to figure out how to get some money out of these buildings, out of these people, and out of the situation until the AI revolution is 100% in motion, and humans are totally taken out of the workplace in the next 15 to 20 years. But they'll definitely capitalize, and there will be money to be made between then and now.
And I think about the home sale prices going down. I think that may be sellers trying to accommodate for the lack of buying going on because of the level of interest rates. So that may be sellers pulling their home prices like down to like reduce the initial down payment price on a house that a buyer would have, but still have a higher interest rate than normal. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, I think that's probably what. But you see, majority of this is in the West Coast, and a lot of people
Yeah,
have been leaving the West Coast because the West Coast is just crazy. The income tax is crazy there. Home
If
prices
if
crazy.
you really break these cities down, Austin, Texas, Seattle, Washington, a lot of these places are tech heavy, tech
Mhm.
heavy, Silicon Valley s areas where people that had inflated salaries anyway to begin with, which drove the housing market up. So it's not a necessarily unnatural correction. You know what I'm saying? We've been floating up and printing money for the last few years, and a lot of people, you know, didn't take advantage of the situation, and kept kind of doing what we as Americans tend to do. So, like I said, I don't think it's that extreme. I think we live in a day and age where everything happens so quickly, so fast. Everybody's used to the instant gratification, the Instagram, everything's super super fast, right? Um, I think even this recession, depression, whatever they want to call it, it's going to come and go pretty quickly, and we're going to get back to the money. You know what I'm saying? We're going to get back to the money just because, it's capitalism at the end of the day, and people aren't sensationalized like they were the 1920s. You know what I'm saying? And during the
Mhm.
1980 collapse and even 2008, I think people are more expectant of the government to take care of them. So we're in a situation where I think any significant downturns in the markets, even in the housing market, the Obama committee plunge protection team is going to step in and pretty much make sure they save the day, or make sure things don't get too ugly. Let's say that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
so
only
you
a matter
basically
of
saying like taking the housing market is going hand in hand, especially in the West Coast.
Yeah.
Like we just talked about the layoffs, then home prices are coming down. Like it's a pegging with taking the housing market in the West Coast is looking like.
Right.
yeah, and it's only a matter of time till we get back to the money. AI, or i.e., we turn the money printers back on, and we just endlessly print
Yeah, we just endlessly printing money like crazy.
Yeah, but at some point the bubble must pop, and the entire system will have a reckoning, where it'll be a moment of truth where we look at each other and we say, "Damn, maybe these dollars aren't backed by anything at all. Maybe I've been
Maybe.
living all my life with wealth in a shitcoin, in a literal shitcoin that some random guys can just print at all times, at any point, whichever
Yeah.
they want."
I
And this
think.
this right here, global recession, like they predicting the global recession. This was already like forecasting the like last year when there was already two consecutive months of or quarters of negative GDP. Like this was already like the way they do stuff, they come in so late with the news, but really the reality is we've already been.
Yeah, they refuse to say. They refuse to say it. They refuse to say the word recession. They don't want to say that we're in a recession until we're actually getting out of the recession. You know what I'm saying? Because if you've been
Mhm.
really paying attention to the market, November 2021, or what? No, November. Yeah, November 2021 is really when we started to turn, and
Mhm.
the market started to kind of start to shift, and the two back-to-back quarters of GDP happened and all that stuff. So that's,
Yeah, it
if you want to
confirmed
get
it.
technical with it, that's really when the quote unquote recession started. But they didn't want to call it that at the time. Now they're starting to call it that, and there could be a possibility that we're starting to climb out of it. I think we still got a little bit of a dip that we'll see. It may be a bit extreme, but like I said, everything happens so fast, and today and age is, as long as you're consistent and you're really disciplined about your skill, your craft, and you have become autonomous outside of the system. You don't need to be a government dependent. I think you'll be fine. But like I said, it's gonna be
And that
a lot of people.
oh, I was gonna say, and that just goes to show like like this economy is dependent on asset prices and stuff like that too, because
Yeah.
late 2021 asset prices start going down. Then we about mid 2022 when the two quarters have actually gone through and it was negative. It just goes to show you a lot of profiting is from asset prices.
A lot of the stabilization comes from the asset prices. So that's a lot, and you could tell when things are about to move because money just moves from one sector to another sector, from one thing to another thing. It's like water. It flows. It's
Hmm.
just like an endless flow, especially our money, because we just print it up as we need.
Hmm.
So it just flows from one place to another, like air or water.
Exactly, and you said another leg down. Well, when I see things like, people talking about the bottom is in, and this is it. We made it through, guys. We made it through the bear market. We've done it. The war is over. The Fed has pivoted. The bottom is in. Like, I don't know where these people are coming from with this insane idea. Right? They've been doing the same thing, expecting a different result. That's the literal definition of insanity. Every 2 months, we see the same thing. Bitcoin and altcoins pump 10, 15%. And what happens after that? Another 35% drop to the downside. And then
Yeah,
everyone acts like, oh my God, we have to blame someone. It's FTX. It's this guy. No, it's just the bear market
yeah.
being a
Just
bear
what the
market. People
market does,
relax.
man. I'm glad
Relax.
that I'm glad that people are starting to understand that it's not always going to be just a green candles going straight up every day for months. And we had a market where it did that for a while. You know what I'm saying? But that's not going to last forever, and you got to be able to trade both sides of the market and understand that stocks don't just go up, they go down, they trade
Hmm.
sideways sometimes, they go down some more. I think we're in a healthy from a macroeconomic standpoint. I think we're in a healthy. We're at a healthy point. Yes, I do think there's some things that Powell could do to help alleviate some of the pressure, but he's not really there for that. Like he doesn't really want to fix the problem, right? He's just there to kind of manage it and make sure it doesn't get terrible. And as
Oh,
long as it doesn't fall apart completely, as long as the entire system doesn't fall apart completely, I think there'll still be, a fairly strong dollar in the next 5 years, 5 to 10 years.
And
his
I
favorite
think
word,
like,
price stability. Price stability. We're trying to maintain. We're trying to get back to price
mhm,
stability. Where he does
Right.
not care you're
2%
losing your job.
inflation.
He wants you to lose your job. He wants you
Actually,
to.
it's
That's what he
essential for you
wants.
to lose your job in order for the economy to correct it. So
There we
sounds
go.
funny,
Yeah,
isn't it?
We
to
need
to
more people
slow
like
down.
you.
Yeah, and that's why like if I see news like this, I think we should be looking into like the long term plays. Like, I don't think the bottom is definitely not in, but I think content creators they do that because they got to get their ratings in, they got to get they got to get their content in and stuff like that. So they gonna roll with whatever trend, whatever the market is doing. They see 10, 15% up to the upside, and they gonna make their content based off of that. But yeah, I do think we're going back lower to lower prices because the Fed has just like pause on the interest rates at the moment. It's not like they've gone back down. It's not like they reversed. It's not like they just haven't did anything. You know what I'm saying? So I think we could be looking at some good long term plays. You know what I'm saying? Like I think I'm still in the mindset of you know mainly Bitcoin hitting those 10K levels. You know what I'm saying? Specifically between like 10K, 13K around there. You know what I'm saying? So we haven't when your assets have not hit the historic correction levels or price drop levels, it hasn't like especially in the time that we're in right now, it's not the bottom yet. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
Bitcoin has
every
yet to
bear
even
market.
hit
Yeah, every bear market.
80%.
Bitcoin hits at least 85% to the downside. We haven't even hit 80, 75.
Mm-hmm.
How about
Yeah, exactly. I mean, 85%, 80%, and I think 95 or 97 on Ethereum. Was it
Yeah, I think it's 97%.
95, 97% on Ethereum? And then right now Ethereum's at 70 something and Bitcoin's at 65. So definitely a bit of a crunch to go if you want to at least compare it to previous bear markets. We're not even factoring in the fact that this is the fastest rate hike ever. That well,
Yeah,
for another day. Yellen
yeah,
warns the U.S. default is a risk by early June. Urges the debt limit hike. Okay, I want to start with the chart on the right, real quick. The debt ceiling. back in 2013 was $17 trillion. 17 trillion. From 2013 to 2020, it rose. What is that? 5 trillion from 17 to 22. 5 trillion, and then from 2020 to 2022, it went from 23 trillion to 30 trillion. So that's 7 trillion in 2 years compared to 5 trillion in 7 years.
Hmm.
Just want to, that's ridiculous. Absolutely insanity. We learned a
Do
lesson
you want to
in
know why
2001.
you know want to know that's a real problem? The only real reason why that's a problem is that the birth rate is declining. So the birth rate really globally is starting to decline. I know everybody wants to say the opposite, and
No, we're overpopulated.
we're overpopulated and depopulation. But the truth is a lot more people are dying and our birth rates are declining. So, in all actuality, we won't be able to afford. It was never a real number. There is no real money, man. Like I hope everybody understands. Like these numbers are always really funny to me because they're just like
If you're working for a pension, I have news for you. Okay.
pension, social security. If you're betting on any of those things and you're not already collecting on those things, um, you should
Oh
holler
man.
at my man, the financial conspirator. He could probably hook you up with trades, both in the stock market and crypto, and probably save some of your retirement portfolio.
Man.
I
Because
would
it's
be
Oh my
cashing in that
goodness.
check.
Oh my goodness. If that's
I
what's
would be
happening,
cashing in those Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security checks, all of that. I'll be cashing them in right now.
people gotta
Forget the
understand,
forget
man,
the
there is no real money. There
it's
is
none.
no real money. So
None.
these numbers, not only are they arbitrary, we have an entire system that's built off of it. Hell, the Pentagon did another audit and they lost another 15 trillion this year. So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
what are we really talking about? Are we talking
Mm-hmm.
about $100 trillion or the money that the government lost? Are we talking about the money that we sent to Iran and the money that we sent to Ukraine and the money that we're sending currently to half of the European continent or countries on the European continent for natural gas and oil? All of those subsidies. What are we really talking about? You
Yeah,
know
have
what I
you
mean?
have
now
you
let me back you up on that. Look, all right, so in 2021 they set the debt ceiling at $31.4 trillion, right? This
Wow.
says Yellen warns of U.S. default risk by early June. Did y'all know the national debt right now is already 31.4 trillion?
Mm.
So right now the U.S. has
Thursday,
defaulted.
didn't she? Didn't she say we're gonna default Thursday?
On Thursday, she said that we're on
Man, I
default
want to
Thursday.
say I thought I heard her say that.
No,
Bro,
she
like,
did. She
look,
definitely did say that.
we're there right now. The U.S. is defaulted on this debt right now. Now they
Yeah,
about to
but
make.
the reality is man, we got the biggest guns on the planet, so ain't nobody gonna do nothing about it. Like it's like
They're just gonna
No,
raise
the
the
only
debt
people who could
further.
do something about it are the people in the damn country where it's happening. And you said with all the money we're spending on Ukraine and things like that, but have you looked at the $1.7 trillion spending package that they just passed? We're taking for $3.6 million to build an LGBTQ museum in New
oh
York.
yeah, that sounds
$3
awesome.
million for a Michelle Obama hiking trail. Michelle Obama? 3 million? Didn't she ruin school lunch, bro? What what
Right.
what do
That
we
was
gain?
probably
What do the
all like this.
American people gain from a Michelle Obama hiking trail? I mean, we have to actually look at the things they're spending our taxes on. We work for 4 months out of 12 months of the year. We don't get 4 months worth of pay. That's 30%. There's people who get ripped off more than that in a higher tax bracket. 30% is what the poorest, the bottom of the bottom, 30, at least 30%. You're giving up your paychecks for them to laugh at you in your face, people. And then you want
Now
to
this
say,
is
"Oh,
where I
it's
can
risky
see
to invest." It's investing is gambling. Investing is the only thing you got at this point, and they can get rid of that shit soon too.
They are going to get rid of it soon.
now look at the landscape for 2023 now. If the United States is going to default on its debt on Thursday, on Thursday, what does the rest of 2023 look like if they raise the debt ceiling to $34 trillion. Supposed ceiling of $34 trillion. What does that look like to
Oh,
the markets?
it looks like
That's looking like a kind of a bullish, outlook. If they raise them,
More money is more
yeah,
money, right?
exactly. So
yeah, watch. It won't just be eggs people are making memes about. I'm telling you, it'll be everything else. It won't just be the eggs, folks. Because
That's
I know
amazing.
people remember the egg farms getting, but what about the chicken farms? All those cows that were dropping dead. I mean, those videos weren't just videos to go viral.
mhm,
The stuff is actually coming into play now. So we see this
it's
guy Bill Gates
biblical.
buying up all these farms to make cricket farms. You think eat the bug? You think it's a meme until it's on your plate in a restaurant, and you have to eat the bugs. Like it's not.
Well,
It's not gonna be a joke
they're not
anymore.
gonna tell you that it's bugs. They're gonna put it in something like uh,
Steak. It'll be
an Impossible
steak.
Burger. Have you ever seen that movie Soylent Green? The Soylent Green movie. It's a really old
Everyone's
No,
movie.
addicted to watch it.
I haven't watched it, but I know all of those little patties and vegan options be pretty soyed up. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, that's what it's gonna end up being. They're gonna be like, oh, it's gonna be an Impossible Cricket Burger or some shit like
Oh,
that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, because it's
like they're
impossible. How did you make that? That's impossible.
oh, it tastes just like meat. It tastes just like beef. But really, they've been growing the beef in the chicken and the meat in labs for decades now, man.
Yo,
Like
yeah,
we just don't really we really don't understand the level at which our society operates and the things that
yeah, man.
Now, before
Yeah,
we get to this right here, I want to just break down the debt ceiling for anybody who may not know what that is. All right, so the debt ceiling is basically like the max amount of debt that the United States can have, and at the moment right now is 31.4 trillion. The national debt right now is 31.4 trillion. So the basically the
it means
debt
we're at our
ceiling,
debt limit currently
yeah,
right now.
we're
That's
at our debt limit, and the United States could default on its debt. And if it does that, they will have to find other ways to pay off their debt.
which
This
means
is
that they're like,
$31.4 trillion in debt we're talking about. So since the US knows they can't pay it off, look at what they've done historically just in the last 10, 11 years from 2012. They've raised the
Iraq,
debt ceiling
Iran,
from
Afghanistan.
15 trillion to 31.4 trillion. And
Hmm.
if they don't raise their the debt ceiling and they can't pay off the loans, it will most likely result in government shutdown, pandemonium. It'll be
higher interest rates.
uh yeah, higher interest rates, all of that, everything is going up, credit card rates going up, housing
Probably see
market,
a little bit of
housing rates going
hyperinflation
up.
And it's
Yeah,
not just in America because it's not just America who goes on this
because the
system. It's
United States
the
has a
rest of the
global reserve
world.
currency.
It is the rest of the world. Okay, so it's
Mhm.
not just gonna be downtown. That's you see downtown has more homeless people. It's gonna be the whole world. Okay, I don't know if you guys have seen these videos of like protests in India, protests and people bringing guns to banks and trying to get the
Yeah,
money. I mean, stuff is going
Mhm.
to be in the streets, and the revolution will not be televised. You won't even know it's happening until you open up and peek out that little window of yours. The TV will tell you everything's fine. Just keep buying products. Keep buying products. We'll be okay.
All because of the Fed is in full control over what happens to the world money.
The world.
yeah, they've can, but
Yeah.
that's the same. That's why I feel like a lot of stuff is kind of like doom and gloom. They have so much control over it, and honestly, I think they're more interested in a slow kill than
Mm.
anything to the economy. If they do actually plan on killing it, I think they're using this for a perfect excuse to usher in the central bank their digital currencies and basically hook up everybody to the blockchain, and we can start talking about transhumanism and all of those things. But a bad Black Mirror episode. I think my man Financial actually posted that. It's like, what do you think the future's gonna look? It's like a goddamn Black Mirror episode. It's gonna be pretty
Yeah.
bad.
Come on, y'all. Don't make me find the damn episode of the white girl. They got the little phones. Every little transaction you do is rated out of
Micro
5 stars. If you cuss
transactions. Yeah,
somebody out, they give you 1 star. I'm telling you, the shit is gonna be nuts. Nuts.
you say something wrong about somebody and you get turned off. They just turn your whole car. It already exists in China. People like,
It exists. It exists for Kanye West.
and yeah, it's just not
Yeah.
in our space like it is in China yet.
Yeah, yeah.
They are capable of that type of activity, man. So
And it makes you wonder why the SEC is on such a damn war path. They want to usher in their own thing. They're like, hey, you guys can't do any of that, okay? SEC is charging crypto companies with offering unregistered securities, so they're not just going after Gemini and Genesis. They're going after every token. They're not going to give you laws that you can go by. They're going to just do it after the fact. You know what? We don't like what you guys did. We don't like what you did. Matter of fact, come here. Let me teach you a lesson too publicly. It's just a way for them to masquerade their power and show the world who's got the biggest dick. It's me. It's Gary Gensler. But there's always a but. But before we get into that, what do you guys think of this? Is this a genuine attempt at helping, what is it, retail investors, or is this just a power trip for the CBDCs to have no competition?
It's definitely a power grab. You know what I'm saying? Everything that's going on with the SEC in terms of whoever they sue, lawsuits, and all of that types of stuff, they want power over that industry or whoever they sue. You know, they may have a technology behind them. They may be plugged in with some other company that's going to rise up and take the place of whoever, you know, they knock out and stuff like that. Like there's a project called Library or something like that that was like not a security. They didn't come out, you know, in a way that would be registered as a security. And SEC went out after them, and now the whole project is like coming down. They're closing down and stuff like that. So it's definitely, I think it's a power move. They trying to enforce regulations on the entire space, and yeah, that's what I think about it.
yeah, it's definitely a consolidation of power. You couple this with the crypto millionaires and billionaires being popped off, um,
Hmm.
being taken off the board. A lot of those guys were trying to do positive things for the world. A lot of the people that were killed. There were some people that were probably pretty regular but couldn't be controlled. You know what I mean? So yeah, this is just a consolidation of power. But like everything else, it's going to depend on what the people do and say. Because ultimately, if people choose to do commerce and do choose to do business with the
Mm-hmm.
tokens and coins that they feel are adequate for their transaction, that is a choice that they can make. That is a choice that is being created and being expanded upon, with not just Bitcoin and Ethereum. I think I heard this one saying said Bitcoin is it's a silent revolution wrapped up in a Ponzi scheme. Like it seems like a Ponzi scheme, but it's really a silent revolution. Like just say like what if the Occupy Wall Street crew is the
Mm.
crew that's behind the whole cryptocurrency
Mm-hmm.
uh, movement, because it's really the only alternative we have to uh, involuntary servitude. Like let's keep it funky. Let's call it what it is.
Yeah.
Involuntary servitude. Via taxation and everything else.
Damn
It's
right.
it's
We don't
really the
control.
only salvation to that. So people can say what they want about it, good, bad, ugly, and indifferent. And when somebody else comes up with a better solution, I reserve the right to change my mind. But as it stands right now, it's gonna depend on the people, man. Point
Look
blank,
at
period.
Nigeria. Nigeria, they
Nigeria,
tell me
there's gonna be whole countries
that's it.
that ain't gonna do the
And all it takes is one. All it
You
takes
know
is
what I
one
mean?
El
There's gonna be
Salvador.
whole countries that's gonna be like, nah, I'm not moving with the central bank digital currency. We're gonna hop on Bitcoin, or we're gonna hop on Hex, or we're gonna hop on the Ethereum mainnet. And if you want to
XRP,
do business
Hedera.
with
Yep.
us,
Yep.
right? If you want to do business with us and you want to mine our gold and you want to take our resources, you're gonna have to pay us in this cryptocurrency. Period.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
And we're okay with that. We're okay if it goes down. At least we know it's sound money. At least we know that it's our money. At least we know
At
that
least
it's
we know you're not going to print another 40% of the entire supply in a year.
in a year.
You're not
Or
going to do that with Bitcoin. You will
or
never do that with Bitcoin, okay?
Yeah, it could be like
40%.
an exchange, like what's going on with Africa and China. How Africans are like, yeah, y'all can come and mine our gold, but hey, look, we need y'all to build some infrastructure over here. You know what I'm saying? We don't have none, but China has the ability to build infrastructure like that.
Damn
So,
straight.
it's a trade off like that. And when it
It's
comes
got
to
to
like Bitcoin being a commodity, I think this is 100% fact because when you look at the fundamentals of Bitcoin, it performs like a commodity, like even a better commodity than gold in a digital sense. So like just the whole halving cycles every 4 years, and that's just going to create scarcity, especially when you got censorship growing. And Bitcoin is a non-censorship. It's a censorship resistant chain, censorship resistant blockchain. Like nobody can, somebody could see your address, but they can't stop you from doing whatever with the funds
whatever
on your
business
wallet.
that you choose to do.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, whatever business that you choose to do. But just like the dollar, the US dollar, it only has value that people give it,
Exactly.
right? Like it only has the intrinsic value that the person is willing to give it, the individual. And those individuals can be whole countries. Those individuals can be, the entire globe. And right now, everybody is giving their interest to the United States dollar, the US dollar. But
Mhm.
at some point, there has to be a challenger to the king, and that challenger has to be sound, right? And for the logical, smart people on the planet, they're going to choose to do business in another way that is probably more transparent, less corruptible, and honestly easier to do business and transact with. You know
Faster.
what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Less fees,
Yep.
and you don't need.
Faster.
That's it. I mean, and when you think about it, when you said it's going to be what the people use, the e naira or the digital Nigerian currency, I think had a 2% use rating on the streets of Nigeria. So around 2% of the people were using it, and it got to the point where they were trying to limit how much cash you could withdraw from your ATM because the people just weren't using it. I mean, we don't want. How many more times are you going to give us this monopoly money? After a certain amount of time, we're just going to be like, you know what? Take that shit back. Give me my property. Or give me
Yeah.
something real. I don't need this piece of paper with the white man on it anymore. We want something real.
21 pieces of
Bitcoin is what's real. We see Saudi Arabia. You said people who are dealing with the dollar now, but they're weaning off of it. Russia weaning off of it. Saudi Arabia weaning off of it. China weaning off of it. India. They're
Mhm.
all taking their mouths off of the breast, the cancerous breast of the U.S. dollar. We're getting grown up now. We're getting a little bit too old to be sucking on the United States boob for the rest of our lives. We're getting a little bit too old for that. People are starting to realize maybe I would have something by now if my currency wasn't being debased at the will of some random ooish people. Literally, we're gonna get real tax brass to it today because that's what it is. We have to at this point. There is no other alternative. It's either Bitcoin or death. Give me liberty or give me death, and that's what the people are. I mean, that's what I think the people are going to see. Nigeria
And,
is seeing it.
and speaking about liberty, if you want to keep your liberty and freedom, this is just a warning that the Fed now payment system, the well improved, the greater version of our system that we have now, the instant payment system that we have coming, they're planning on dropping that sometime between May and July this year. So, if the United States does not raise the debt ceiling and the government goes into a collapse, I wouldn't be surprised if you see them trying to push a Fed now payment system, on people as like a saving grace for people's money. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, just the
just
next
as a
stimulus
warning.
check will be digital. That's all they got to do. Just we'll give you a stimulus check. Just download this wallet. We'll send you the coins. It'll be real convenient, real easy. Free money. It's free money. It's free money.
It'll be backed by the dead US dollar.
Mhm.
Hey man, I really appreciate you guys coming on. Unless you have any closing thoughts, where can we find both of you, Rakim?
You can find me on Instagram, like always, or TikTok. On Instagram, it's at RakimX, and on TikTok and YouTube it's Rakim, but on TikTok it's Rod.Kim. So yeah, I also have a crypto ebook for beginners, just getting you into the basics about blockchain and cryptocurrency. And I'm also now accepting Bitcoin at a $5 discount. So and silver, you know what I'm saying? If you want to buy it with precious metals, I'll pay for the shipping. You ship it to me. And hey, look, you can get my ebook as well. So yeah, that's where you can find me.
EdgeOutTrading.eth on Twitter and IG. I've been just trying to get back into the swing of trading more regularly and in the futures market, man. So I'm gonna start dropping some analysis on the bond market, the bond futures market, as well as the index futures. Just kind of just show everybody a different aspect of trading,
Mm.
and the wonderful things that you can just do in the market by turning yourself into a self-sustaining ATM machine.
Mm,
Go, man. $100 million or bust for me.
I heard that, bro. Hey, we're gonna get there, and we will be documenting our entire route so that you
Yep.
guys can follow us on the way. Leave a comment on what you want to see next week. We out.